So Cade Bryant is joining us today from EnerBank USA to talk us through integrating financing and payments into the sales process. Cade has a passion for helping businesses strategize and grow, which led him to his current role of VP Senior Relationship Manager with 14 years at EnerBank in his spare time. This husband and dad of three loves to ice climb and run marathons, two hobbies which make Cade an immensely more impressive and interesting person than myself. So Cade, thank you so much for being here with us today. The floor is all yours, and I'm going to make you the presenter now.
Terrific. Thank you very much, Liz. To say I'm a regular ice climber would be strong. I've actually just tried it this year, had a very positive experience. It was a lot of fun. But as far as marathons go, I've ran, I think, 19 marathons at this point. So, yeah.
Kudos to that. All right.
Sure, I'm sharing the correct screen here. I think EnerBank and Leap working together. I think we've got this is correct, right?
Go on to slide 5. That's where we're picking back up.
Here we go. We'll get there. Is this it?
There you go. Alrighty. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me today to speak about EnerBank and how we work with Leap to Digital. To give you a quick overview, part of the presentation, I'll be speaking about who is EnerBank, what we are, who we are, what we do, a walk through our loan process application from approval through funding, and next steps in offering payment options for your customers. So let's talk a little bit about EnerBank. EnerBank was founded in 2002. You know, the Olympics were here in Salt Lake City, is where we're headquartered, and that was a great time here in Salt Lake City. A lot of excitement, and so it's easy to remember when we were founded. It was in 2002. Prior to that, we were a finance company, and since 2002, I joined the bank in 2008, and I'm employee number 23. If I were to toot my horn a little bit, we've got over 500 employees now. We have over 10,000 contractors that use our services for funding their customers' home improvement projects. We've financed over 1 million customers' projects, and you can see $10 billion in funding. Just to kind of put into perspective what $10 billion looks like, if you took 1 second of time, and that was equal to $1, to get to 1 million seconds, you'd be looking at 11 days. And so that's a lot of time. To jump from 1 million to 1 billion, to go from 11 days, again, from 1 million to 1 billion, that would actually equate to 31.69 years. So to say we're doing $10 billion, I don't know, millions, billions, trillions, it gets thrown around. These are pretty large numbers. And since, I don't know, there's a lot of talk in the news about trillion, I thought, what is a trillion seconds? A trillion seconds is 31,688 years. So that's a long time. We've funded those projects and helped contractors like you grow, increase sales, and offer more to your customers so that they can expand their purchasing power to get what they truly want in a project. Some of the main keys of working with EnerBank, and I mentioned before that we had been a finance company prior to becoming an FDIC insured bank. We do have regulators that come in and audit us regularly. We are compliant with all of the rules and laws that banks are subject to. One thing that is, well, we offer comprehensive loan products, and so I'll be going through the different loan options here in a few minutes. But as a FDIC membered bank, we are able to access capital at lower prices. Again, we're subject to on-site audits and reviews by the FDIC to make sure we're compliant. I like to point out that back in 2009, when the housing market caused the economy to cripple, there were 15 different competitors in our space. Those slowly went out of business until there was only 3 left, and they were FDIC insured banks. So right now there's a lot of different competition as well, and you definitely want to stick with an FDIC insured bank. we have the ability to make good on our promises, and it's proven by the audits that we have to review. One thing that I'm asked a lot is, are we a recourse loan? And usually the question doesn't come that way. The question is, what if the customer doesn't pay back their EnerBank loan? Am I the contractor responsible at all? And that's the definition of a no recourse loan. We are a no recourse loan, so we don't come back to you if the customer does not pay back the loan. We are an unsecured lender, and we will work with the customer to try to get paid back. There are some loans that we are not paid back on, but not very many. Mostly they do pay us back. We do fund and service all of the loans that we provide to your customers, and so you can know that we're not selling the loans. I know people have bought a house, and then the first month's mortgage payment comes, and the loan's been sold, and they have to now make a different payment. We finance and service all of the projects that we'll do for your customers. We have no hidden fees. Our fee structure is straightforward and direct, and we share that with you. You're able to offer to your customers which loans that you would like them to have. There's no extra charges or costs. I am one of, I think, 9 relationship managers here at EnerBank at this point, and everyone that has an EnerBank account would have access to someone like myself to help guide them through and help them know how to navigate through and get customer approved and answer all of your questions. We also have on-demand trainings that make things really easy to learn how to use some of our tracking software, reporting software, and Leap as well. So some of the types of loan options that we make available, I'm sure in the home improvement industry, there are lots of different types of if you look in the advertising that you or your competitors offer, sometimes depending on the industry, they'll offer same as cash loans, a no interest, no payment loan. That seems to be pretty popular with the window, siding, and door companies, even some of the bathrooms. The concept is buy today, and pay within 12 months time or 6 months time. We've got 6, 12, 18, 24 months of no interest and no payments. And it makes things nice, buy today and then wait until you get your annual return or your annual tax return, or wait till you get your bonus at work. And then you can just pay for the project. And that really helps increase the scope of the customer's project and get what they really want rather than what they think they can afford with today's dollars. We have reduced interest loans and zero interest loans. These types of loans are really good for giving a customer payments over longer than 6, 12, or 18, or even 24 months time. We're looking at 48 months, 60 months, even up to 12 years. You can give a customer a low monthly payment. You can give them a very competitive and low interest rate as well. And there are different fees associated with that, similar to the same as cash. And like I said, we can go over some of that later. A triple option loan allows the customer to re-amortize the loan. These are kind of popular within the solar home improvements. When customers want to put solar on their home, they can re-amortize the bill when they make large payments, like a tax credit, things like that. We also have yes loans. These are loans that we otherwise would say no to. We're able to say yes and get those customers approved. It's a subprime option. It's a counter offer in nature that helps get a customer approved that otherwise wouldn't have been able to get approved. And so just to give you an idea, this is a good overview of the different loan options that we make available to you as a contractor to then make available to your customers. As I mentioned earlier, we are a FDIC member. You can trust us. I know banks got a bit of a bad reputation back during the banking crisis. We took none of the funds that were available to help bail out banks. The TARP funds we rejected, and we're able to we self-fund all of our loans. And again, we can make good on our promises. I know just even a year ago, it wasn't when the pandemic began, some of our competitors, some of the finance companies that are out there were backing off of their commitments to the contractors and not committing to approving the customers or funding the customers' projects. And so having an FDIC insured bank gives you confidence for working with someone like us.
We actually have our first question that's come in. Craig from California was asking about some of the Leap integration, which to let everyone know, we will dive into a little bit more in the presentation of can he offer multiple loan options within LEAP? And I believe the answer is yes. You can pick out whichever loans that are applicable that you would like to offer, and you can go from there. But like I said, we'll touch on some more of the integration type information here in a bit. Was there anything?
Yeah, that's a very good question from Craig. Yeah, absolutely. It's quite common to offer a customer a combination of loans, maybe a no interest, no payment option for 12 months, depending on the ticket size of the project or the customer's financial situation. But then in addition to that, too, you may want to give a 5-year, a payment that's over 5 years, or maybe a payment that's over 10 or 12 years. And so it can bring the payment down lower with that longer term. So that's a very good question. Yeah, you are able to offer multiple payment options to a customer through the proposal system. As I mentioned earlier, I guess I kind of spoke to some of these already, but we are a non-recourse unsecured loan. And so the benefit of the unsecured loan is we really focus on the customer's credit, what their credit picture is like, their score, debt to income ratio, and are able to make a really quick decision and fund those projects. In the heating and air conditioning world, a lot of times, you sell and install the same day. We can get you that approval, and we can get you approved and funded same day. There's no appraisal costs or anything like that you might get with a home equity loan. You've got to take some time, and we can get customers approved and funded with the same day. So again, we do service and fund all of the projects that we, when you have a customer apply with us, you can rest assured that we will be funding that project and service the loan. So they'll be getting statements from EnerBank. It is serviced by us. We don't sell the loans, or we will continue to service them. Again, we're very straightforward with our fee structure, no hidden fees. Some finance companies will have, they pay you through a merchant system, or there'll be additional fees that they may or may not share with you. We, as an FDIC insured bank, we deposit the funds right into your account through an ACH process. So you request the funding, and the money will be in your account the next day in almost every case. I am, again, one of 9 relationship managers that you would work with. All of them have been trained and worked with contractors like yourselves. Like I said, I've been doing this for, I'm in my 14th year at this point, and all of them are just as good, if not better than me. Our training department, we've created a number of on-demand training videos to go from training on how to have a customer apply, how to have them use our mobile apps, how to use the partner portal on the back end for funding the loans, more of an office tool. We have owner sales and admin trainings on demand that we can share with you, so that you can watch and be trained and feel confident in moving forward in approving and funding those customers' projects. We also can provide you with some marketing material, flyers, and website buttons that are able to put on your website, so customers can apply right from there. It makes things simple and easy for your customers to apply, especially in a COVID world. They want to be able to just click on a link and be able to apply and get approved. The flyers make it simple and easy. It'll show a couple of different payment options, and customers can choose a same as cash type of a loan, or monthly payment type of a loan, or whatever you want to make available to the customer. So let's talk about the loan process. I think this will come off of Craig's question a little bit closer. EnerBank is working with LEAP to have customers apply right through their software. And when you have if you currently have an active EnerBank account, you can already use the LEAP to Digital software. You would enter in the program phone number. And I know this is probably one of the most common questions I get multiple times a day is, what is the program phone number? And quite simply put, EnerBank has probably 50 different channels of ways customers can apply to us through different phone numbers. And that's how we know which program you're in. We have several private label programs where it's a closed contractor base that they all call in and apply under that manufacturer. And that's what they sell, and that's what they install. And so we would answer the phone specific to that manufacturer. Not too unlike maybe a private label credit card that maybe some of the local retailers use that really has a large bank behind it. We do offer these private label programs for various manufacturers. So the program phone number is the number that you would call EnerBank. So if you right now have an EnerBank account, it's the telephone number that you would dial to have a customer apply, not for the customer support, but it's to have customer apply. And then you would enter in your contractor number, which if you have an EnerBank account already, you can then enter that. The delivery method, which we recommend, electronic signature, seems to be the most effective. And then the integration code, which is just a 01. No, excuse me, I apologize. The integration code would be the loan promo, the promotion code for 12 months same as cash, 6.99 5-year, whatever the loan type that you want to offer has a code with it. And again, if you've got an EnerBank account already, you probably are able to look at those codes. They are specific to the program that you're in. So similar to the program phone number, say for instance, I use the 12-month same as cash as the most common product that we sell. And so that 12-month same as cash would be different in one program versus another. And so just make sure that you're using the correct promotion code or integration code with the correct phone number. Within LEAP, you would apply right here as a credit application. And then here's where you'd be able to enter in the project type, the loan code. You'd put in the applicant's name and information, social security number, date of birth, mailing address, and push submit. And within 30 seconds or so, you should have a response with an approval or a denial or call the bank. And you'll get one of those three options. I would encourage you to call the bank. If the answer is call the bank, I'd encourage you to call the bank, because that means they're not automatically denied, but we do need to verify something to get them approved.
Hey, Cade, we had another question come in. Tim from Delaware asks, since traditionally contractors let homeowners find their own modes of financing, has that really changed? What percent of the industry do contractors offer financing?
That's a very good question. I'm not looking at the statistics in front of me right now, but I will tell you this. In fact, I just had a deck put on my backyard. As a general rule, you're going to find that there's a difference in the mom and pop contractor versus the company that's really trying to grow and grow and become more than just that mom and pop home improvement company. For instance, the person that did my deck, he is a one-man general contractor, and a company like that generally doesn't use financing nearly as much because they're pretty happy making what they're doing. They do word of mouth referrals, and they don't have to struggle too much for leads, and they make a decent living. But companies that are looking to grow, as a general rule, something else I like to kind of point out is sometimes there are home improvement contractors that are carpenters, for lack of a better word, that happen to start their own business. And those people can be very successful, but if you are a businessman wanting to grow your business, you would expect to see something like this. I mean, if you look around and look at your competition, a lot of times it's the bigger players in your market that offer these types of products, because they recognize that they're not in the business of building decks, for instance. They're in the business of making money, and whether they're selling life insurance or no matter the industry they're in sales industry, trying to sell and grow, and this will help those companies sell and grow.
Absolutely, and yep, we have such a wide range, of home improvement companies that use, I know, both EnerBank USA and LEAP, if not both. I know we do have, one of our customers recently we were speaking to that does over 100 million in sales a year. I mean, they told us that over 52% or so of their deals, use the financing tool that they offer through LEAP. So, it's just that extra, it can be done, before they even leave the driveway. So, cool. All right. Well, folks, if you have additional questions, keep them rolling in. And Cade, back to you.
Thank you. Much of it also is the industry. Again, I can use carpentry as a general example, but If you're in a specialized, if you are in heating and air and that's what you do, a lot of times they use financing more than others. In fact, we try not to use the word financing a lot here at EnerBank because it really is more of a promotional payment option in nature. Rather than go to a customer and say, hey, you can't afford this $10,000 project, you need financing. You run the risk of insulting that customer because you don't know their financial situation or what they're up against. And if you ask them they need financing because you pity them, those are the customers that oftentimes won't get approved anyway. These kind of products really are designed for the customer that has the money. They've got the ability to pay you, but they're going to choose you instead of a competitor because they like to use other people's money. I like to use Best Buy as an example a lot. People have bought a TV from Best Buy or a couch from the local furniture store. They all seem to really promote and push no interest and no payment. And I'll tell you, they are way smarter than me, and they understand the power of giving the customer a year to pay for it, and they'll buy a bigger TV, right? They'll buy the ottoman with the couch. They'll expand the scope of the home improvement project that you're working on. And so most home improvement projects do allow for the scope to be, a good, better, and best type of a scenario. And so you can sell the customer, what they think they can afford, which is the good, or a better or a best, and then you can get what they really would like. It's also important to know in the home improvement world, which you all know better than myself, most customers have a number in mind when you go out and give them a proposal, and the number that they have is almost always lower than the number that you deliver. And so when you present, again, you don't say the word, do you need financing, but when you present early and often that, hey, we have no interest, no payment, I'm going to come here and show you around, or I'll look around and I'll put together a proposal. And when I give you that proposal, remember we have 12 months, no interest and no payment. Remind me to tell you about that. And then that will help curb the sticker shock that they feel when you go and deliver that quote with the cost on it. And so they'll say, well, I was prepared for this number, but I really would rather get, the expanded scope, the best situate, the good, better, best. I'd rather get the best home improvement, and I can. Waiting a year will give me the time to get the funds so that I can afford that best project. So, all right, very good question. Let's go to after the customer has been approved. Back in your office, this is an office tool we have as the partner portal. This is a reporting software that will allow your admin team or the owner. We do not recommend that the sales team has this, although there's no harm in that. It's just usually salespeople are best out selling. This is an office and an administrative tool to track the customer's approvals, to take a customer from approved through funding and throughout the project. So it'll include the status of the credit decision, the dealer fees, things like that you can see on the screen here. We have an express sign loan documents, and many of you, I'm told, have already got EnerBank accounts, and so you may not be used to this new process. We are in the process of converting over not quite all of our accounts just yet, but right now, in the future, and as now, if you sign up today, the customer gets approved and then actually signs for their line of credit right at the approval state. And that way it saves you from getting a signature at the completion. The customer's already signed, and then what would happen is once you're ready to be paid, you would request the funding through the portal, and the customer would receive a text message confirming the funding. The nice thing about the text confirmation is if the customer responds right away, then you're able to get funded within 24 hours, as you've known. If they don't respond right away, if they don't respond at all, you can still be paid. Generally within 48 hours is what you would still be paid because they've already signed, and now they get a message by text letting them know that they can approve it or not. But if they just don't respond at all, you'll still be paid. So you'll see this is what the funding request looks like. EnerBank has received a funding request from your home improvement provider for $15,000. Text yes to approve or no to deny, and then respond within 24 hours. The request disbursement may be made to your home improvement contractor. So something like that is what the customer will receive. If they respond or not, you'll still be paid, again, generally within 48 hours. The portal also tracks the funding. You're able to confirm that the money's in your account. Also, you can go to your bank account and see the money is there as well. That's another popular option. Express Pay allows you, some of our contractors qualify for an Express Pay feature where you can take a draw upon the project. And again, the customer would get the text message confirming the draw. You're able to take part of that loan in stages. And another feature that is been around with EnerBank for a couple of years, but we're starting to promote it more with this Express Sign and Express Pay process, is called our Max Approval. It's a little bit misleading in the name. Customers can get approved up to $65,000 most of the time here at EnerBank on an unsecured loan. But what happens is if they apply for let's say a $7,000–8,000 project, the customer would be able to be approved for a higher loan amount than what they requested. And that helps open their mind a little bit to expanding the scope. Again, that's a big part of what we sell is allowing the customer to buy from you and to buy more and get what they really want rather than what they can afford with today's dollars. So they can see that they're approved for more money for the project. They'll be able to go ahead and do those additional add-ons that are proposed that they do, and they'll like the project even more. So 3 primary ways that Max Approval works, like I said, with upselling. You can also pre-qualify customers. If you have a link on your website, customers can go on and get pre-qualified. I know that's a little easier said than done. Sometimes I'm told people that are, home improvement everywhere is really, really busy right now. And so sometimes they'll say, yeah, I can come out and give you a quote, but I want you to, see if you can get approved before I drive all that way out to your home to give you this proposal. Customers can apply and get approved for a loan before you're even there. Also, it'll protect, if you use the Max Approval, it'll, as customers have changes, I know right now a lot of the roofers are seeing tremendous increases in lumber and material costs. And so this will help ensure that you can get paid by knowing the customer's approved for more. All right, if you wanted to sign up to use the EnerBank, you'd complete the application form to start your enrollment. Once you're approved, a relationship manager similar to myself will be reaching you to schedule an orientation. Orientation consists essentially of training you and the sales team on how to have customers apply. And we do that with, again, we take applications by mobile app, by telephone, and online as well. So, and through Leap, obviously. You can begin offering the choice of payment options to every customer. That really is the key, is to offer this to everyone. I know a lot of times your projects, home improvement projects, are just getting more and more expensive. It's not uncommon that they would, exceed the price of a used car, or even a new car in many cases. And the used car people, the car dealership salesmen tell me that they finance 95% of car sales are financed, and so or leased, leased or financed. And so when you're offering a project that's $20,000 and $30,000 in nature or more, it stands to reason that those customers don't have nearly that amount of money. I read that the average customer has $3,500 in their checking account. So if your project costs us more than that, it really makes sense to offer a payment option.
Hi, Cade. So Lisa would like to know, is there a way to determine the homeowner's credit score in advance, or are there any tools that can help other than a credit report? Good question, Lisa.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I know there's some free credit report sites out there. You need to be a little bit careful with those. There are 3 main credit bureaus that banks pull from: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. There's a couple others out there now. And so if a customer says, I know I have a 900 credit score, they're probably using something with a 1,000-point scale. I've seen different reporting agencies that have a 1,000-point scale. The 3 that I just mentioned have 850 would be the highest credit score you could have, down to, I think about the lowest I've ever seen is a 450. So I don't know that you can get much lower than that, but that's someone, with the lowest of credit possible. And so between that 450 and 850 credit scores is kind of what we use on that. It's kind of like comparing Celsius and Fahrenheit, I guess. So within the TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax families, that's what they use. We use TransUnion for pulling our credit, but even within TransUnion, there's multiple credit scores you can pull, and I'm told that if you go to a department store and have your credit pulled, it's one thing. If you go to a car dealership, it's another thing, even though it might be TransUnion. And so we pull a classic FICO score from TransUnion, and that's what we use. As far as determining what the customer's credit score is, some of them know their credit score. If after you know what their exact score is, they either know that my credit is great, in which those customers are always approved because they do have great credit, or they have, I know my credit's not very good, and I think it's somewhere around 650. Oftentimes when they think it's somewhere around 650, it's substantially lower than that in many instances. And so it's a difficult thing to manage. Really, a best practice is to offer a loan product like the ones we've mentioned to every customer. And if it's not too uncommon for them to say, boy, I don't have the money now, and I'm not going to have it in 12 months. It doesn't help me. It still doesn't help me, right? And so those customers probably wouldn't be good candidates for a 12-month no interest, no payment option. But if you have a customer that you say, hey, we've got a 12-month no interest, no payment option, and their eyes light up saying, great, that'll be perfect. The significant majority of customers pay off their same as cash loans with us before they accrue even a red cent in interest. Very, very few customers actually pay interest to EnerBank. There's fees associated with giving the customer that no interest, no payment option, and I like to survey people when I'm talking. It's kind of odd to not have an audience that I can see and react to, but if I were to survey the folks on this call right now and ask, have you ever bought a couch or a TV? Or I know the jewelry stores around the holidays, I saw Tiffany's was offering no interest and no payment. Again, people at Tiffany's don't need 12 months of no interest, no payment. They generally, if they're shopping at Tiffany's, they probably have the money to buy something, but it gives them the time to buy it. And so when they say, I want 12 months, no interest, no payment, it's over 90% of those customers actually pay off those loans without paying a single penny of interest.
So Cade, we have an awesome surprise. We all know springtime gets to be crazy busy, but our founder, Steve Stencil, is actually able to join us for some of the Q&A. So Steve, hi, welcome. Can you hear? Oh, you think you're still on mute.
Yep, hold on, you think I'd figure this out after a year. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
We got Cade here. Cade Bryant with EnerBank USA, as you well know.
Yeah, I think we met once at a conference, more than a year ago, because COVID shut everything down for the last year.
Right. Cool. So yeah, EnerBank, you guys been a great partner to us, and Liz pinged me, said you guys were on a webinar, and asked if I come in case there's any Q&A, I can help answer.
Awesome. I think you have a little bit more to go over, Cade. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I love, here we are. Look at that. If you wanted to reach out, you're certainly welcome to give me a call. My direct telephone number there on the screen is 801-736-0324. It's got my email address as well. There's if you would like to call the 800 number, you can reach someone that will be able to definitely answer their call. If you call me right now, I'm obviously doing trainings. It's pretty common. I'm talking to contractors or doing trainings, but you can certainly leave me a message or speak to somebody at 888-704-5376.
Awesome. So we have some questions rolling in. I think this first one actually, it's pretty broad, so probably applies to both of you. Brian would like to know, how does someone get started with financing?
Great, Kate.
You want me to take that one?
Yeah.
I'd be happy to. So if you'd like to get started with financing, you can reach out to someone like me and call us. We'll be happy to walk you through some of the different options that are available. We can train you and give you material and marketing material that you can then show to your customers. You are not an agent of the bank, and so generally your job would be to sell, heating and air. That's what you do. And so we teach you just enough key points to say, this is the project cost. It's going to be, $6,000. You don't have to worry about paying anything today. If you'd like, we work with, EnerBank. We work with Leap to Digital. We can give you 12 months of no interest, no payments, and it just really that's the talking point. And then we do all the heavy lifting, either by telephone or through a mobile app. We'll teach you how to capture a customer's information, or great companies like Leap to Digital here, you're able to just enter a couple of data points. The customer is able to get approved, and then we send them all the legal loan disclosures and documents that need to be sent. So you don't have to be an agent of the bank and know a lot of banking laws to offer financing. You really just need to offer it.
Cade, what does that process look like for a contractor? They never offered financing before. Do they fill out an application? What type of information do you ask for? How long does it take, et cetera?
Yeah, very, very good question. Again, if you entering the data into a software similar to yours, you generally are going to get a customer approved. Don't you generally see it about 30 seconds is the turnaround time?
Yeah, so I'm talking about like if I'm a contractor and I want to start offering financing through.
Oh, got it.
EnerBank.
If you wanted to sign up with EnerBank, you reach out to us. We would send you a dealer package. We do look for a history of sales. You've got to be in business for a couple of years, and we'd be able to review your profile. We do a little bit of a background check some of your like the DMV score, things like that. And then if you fill out the dealer package, submit it. We do ask for licenses and insurance depending on whatever the state requires. So that's the only thing that we require, that you're registered and licensed with the states that you work in. We would then, we're at about a 10-day turnaround right now, depending on, when you got the dealer package back to us. We could have you up and running in pretty short amount of time.
Perfect.
And great segue into our next question from Catherine, who asks, do I need to be an EnerBank customer in order to use it in Leap, or can I sign up through Leap?
So yeah, you would have to have an EnerBank account in order to use it. And so that's that question that we just answered. You'd have to go through that process first, take a couple days, and then once they would get like an account number or dealer number or whatever it's called, and then you come back to Leap, put that dealer number into your settings, and then you just go.
Awesome, which again segues very nicely into our next question. Who should I reach out to if I want to add EnerBank to my Leap account?
If they already have a EnerBank account, then they would reach out to Leap. If they don't already have an EnerBank account, then they reach out to Cade and then reach out to Leap.
Awesome, very cool. All right, guys. All right, John would like to know, is the account info from the customer in the application already through Leap?
Is the account info? So anything, ask the question one more time.
John writes, is the account info from the customer in the application through Leap? So I think they're talking about kind of the CRM integration, how.
Yeah,
guess,
so
the population.
The way the integration works is if you bring in a customer, whether you type it in manually or you bring it in through the CRM, all of the fields, the name, the address, the phone number, the email address, will all auto-populate into the EnerBank credit application, and then you just fill in the missing fields and hit submit. But all that data will carry over. You only have to put the customer's information in one time, and that will auto-populate to your credit application.
And that generally is the customer specific social security number, address, name, and that also goes into a cloud, right? It's not stored on the customer's device at all.
Yeah, we don't store the customer's sensitive information anywhere, like social and all that stuff. We don't store it all.
Correct.
But when it comes over from the CRM, so name, address, phone, email, that comes over and is populated to the credit application for you. Social, birth date, all that stuff has to be typed in, but then it goes directly from the iPad to EnerBank. We never really store it.
Perfect.
Any more? I hope she didn't fall off. Liz, there you go.
No, they're just coming in from a couple places, so making sure I don't read you off the same ones. All right, we have the next one from Ben. What are the biggest concerns we can ease for customers in regards to financing?
Cade.
What are the biggest?
concerns you can ease for customers in regards to financing? So, I mean, that's a pretty broad question, but
So yeah, oftentimes they might be a little worried about sharing their social security number. That's not too uncommon of a concern. Generally what I speak to is, hey, this is again, an FDIC insured bank that we're working with. There, just as a FYI, I mean, talking point you're welcome to use, there are about 6,600 banks throughout the United States, and EnerBank comes in about 350-ish plus or minus a little bit. So we're certainly not a bank that many people have heard of, right? That's not an uncommon concern. Maybe who is this EnerBank? EnerBank is an unsecured lender based in Salt Lake City, Utah, and you can pull us up on the Better Business Bureau. You can look us up with our FDIC rating. We have an A+ rating with both, and yeah, you can go online and look to see some of the reviews. We get really positive reviews, except for some of them are when the customers, comes to paying us back. Sometimes they're not always happy with that, but we do honor our commitments, and we, help customers. Again, so many of them pay us off on time or before time. It really is incredible that you're just you're selling time more than anything when you're offering a payment option like this, because the customer is able to get what they really want and get that full scope of the project. I know I've said that many times, but that's really what they're getting. And so they can use a bank like us. They're certainly welcome to go down to their local bank and get a home equity line of credit, and they can get some really good terms right now for that. But oftentimes it takes days to get funded. It takes paperwork. It might take a home appraisal. So the benefit of having an unsecured lender is just that if they've got decent credit, we can get them approved and funded same day. If your services are a quick turnaround. If you're selling a new kitchen and it's going to be 5-6 months before you're done anyway, the customer has time to go do some of those things, and they're certainly welcome to do that. But once they get that fund, those funds, they can then use any home improvement contractor they want. And sure enough, they get talking to their banker at the local bank, and they say, well, my brother-in-law does kitchens too. Let's help you. I bet he'd give you a bid and come in cheaper than what you're being offered. And so the funds that EnerBank offers go specifically to the contractor. So the customer cannot use these funds to use a competitor. They can't use the funds to go on a vacation or travel or do anything other than that. The funds go directly to you, that contractor. So if they get approved, the customer can't use anyone other than you.
Right, and to piggyback on that, like one thing with using technology, so I used to do in-home sales, and I would actually slide my device over, whether using the EnerBank app or using the Leap app with the EnerBank integration, and I'd give the customer the tablet, let them punch their own numbers into the device and hit submit. And we actually have a way to do it remote, where you can send them a link that they click and fill in the information on their own device, and then that would come back and then to the Leap app, all masked fields. So it adds a little bit more of sense of security, but it's just something about the customer typing it into a device and hitting submit is a lot easier for them to do than writing all their information down on a piece of paper that then gets put on a clipboard and the sales rep leaves the house and blah blah blah. So using technology to your advantage is something I highly recommend.
So we have a question from Will, who asks, where'd my questions go? What types of no interest finance offers are available?
So no interest options with EnerBank. We have a 6-month no interest, no payment option. We do have a 9-month no interest with a payment option. It came out a little over a year ago, but mostly you're looking at 6, 12, 18, and 24-month no interest and no payment option. Those are the best no interest ones. We have some pretty expensive loans. Again, these came out a little over 10 years ago. 0 interest for 48 months, 0 interest for 60 months. Things like this are very, very attractive. If you remember during the banking turmoil, the housing crunch in 2009, Chevy and Ford started selling a lot of trucks and cars by saying 0% for 60 months. And so the home improvement community kind of clamored and said, hey, we need something like that too. And so we do have some of those available up to 7 years, I believe you can go of no interest. Those are very, very expensive. We don't see a lot of those loans being offered right now. There are some that still like to use those 5, 6, 7 years of no interest. Those are equal monthly payments. So you take the total balance, divide it out over the 60 months, and that's what the customer's payment would be. But they would have zero interest. They're locked in at a zero interest rate the entire time. One question I get a lot of times is, what if the customer's late making a payment? If they're late, they'll pay a late fee, and they're not going to, they generally don't like paying late fees of $35, but their interest rate is locked in. We're not a financial institution or bank where, we're going to jack their interest rates up because they're late making a payment. They pay a late fee, they keep the interest rate.
Liz?
She keeps coming and then disappearing again. I'm not sure.
Sorry, no,
Scouring the questions.
well, taking questions and answering some people on the chat, get them in touch with some resources. So next question, Mike wants to know, what do these loans cost?
Boy, there is a lot of fees. I think it'd probably be best if you reach out to me or one of my colleagues to go over the rate structure. Oftentimes you can get in somewhere around credit card types of fees, 3.5%, kind of 6% range. You can get customers really competitive loan products. We certainly have loans that are no fees at all to you, the contractor. And a lot of times contractors get excited hearing there's no fees, but the terms to the customer aren't quite as attractive. We have, like I mentioned, the 0% for 7 years. I think that's probably our highest and most expensive loan, and the fees can go, north of 20% on something like that. And while everyone says that's absolutely ridiculous, and I absolutely agree, that's a lot of money, and you've got to know what you're getting into when you're paying over 20% of a fee just for the financing piece. A bean counter could probably make a pretty strong argument that paying a one-time fee that's 20% more and then carry that loan over 7 years, the math works out to be a pretty favorable interest rate to the customer if you were to call it an interest rate instead. But those are very expensive. We don't see a lot of those. So the fees range from 0 to really high.
And Cade, I'll add to that. Again, going back to when I did in-home sales, the company that I worked for, we would push financing on every single deal, even if the customer was asking to pay for cash. Because one of the analogies we'd always use is, if you have a room full of people and you ask them to raise your hand on if you can write a check for $10,000 out of your bank account and not miss a beat, you'd get a couple hands raised, but not everybody in the room can write a check straight out of their bank account today for 10 grand. But if you ask the same people, show of hands, for anybody who can write a check for $100 a month and afford that in your current budget, you'd get a lot more hands that are raised in that room. So when we would go out and pitch the deals, we would always pitch it with financing in a monthly payment, because the objection of, hey, you have to write a $10,000 check or however many $1,000s check as a deposit was a lot harder to overcome than, hey, you only have to make a monthly payment, or we have a deferred interest or no interest, or whatever the promotion is that you're offering. It's so much easier to close financing. Add on to that the dollars per ticket increase and your closing percentage increases. So the fees are like, just, yes, they can come along with some of those plans, but they're supposed to be offset by the increase in the profit margin and the increase in the closing percentage.
We also have studies that show that customers that use somebody else's money, they finance the project, they're going to cancel less. And also, the best lead source that every home improvement contractor has is referrals. And those people that just bought a new patio cover, or just bought a new air conditioning unit, just bought a new bathroom, they tell their neighbors, and I got it for only $250 a month for the next X number of years. That gets their neighbors start to think, wait a minute, I could probably do something like that. Let me call your guy. You will see more referrals when customers they get a very good deal. They share that information with their neighbors. They call you up, and then they want a similar deal.
So Rich writes in, how can you properly address a customer who is seeking their own financing and don't want another credit request from us until they get their own financing decision?
Yeah, that's a good question. If they've got their own financing, I would suggest you take it. I mean, that's usually, if the customer wants to pay you, that's a good idea. We would argue we're a very competitive offering, but if they've got something better, I mean, if they've got a home equity line already set and they're just going to write you a check out of their home equity line, that's a no-brainer. You take the money. But if they're going to have a credit pool, we do an inquiry on their credit. That is the case. And so if a customer says, I don't want to have an inquiry on my credit because I'm buying a house, whatever, for whatever reason, they'd probably be best served using a credit card or using another form of payment.
Right. And so, Kate, the other thing, like we used to use them as like a bridge loan kind of. So like I believe EnerBank works this way, where like you don't like the financing is funded once the job is done, correct?
Correct.
So like if you get the financing secured, if I was a sales rep in the home and the customer says, hey, I got to wait to sign the deal because I'm going to get a home equity loan. Well, home equity loans sometimes take a month or two. All right. And so that's just nothing gets started or moves along until after that home equity line goes into place. Then the customer has to write a deposit check out of their home equity line, which means that they're going to have to start paying interest on that loan before the project even gets started. So I would say, hey, listen, just secure our financing for now. Best case scenario, you don't use it. Worst case scenario, you use it for a little bit and then pay the thing off. Maybe even do a no interest option, but use it as kind of a bridge loan. Say, hey, let's go ahead and sign the deal today. You can go ahead and get your financing. Worst case scenario, you have or best case scenario, you have your financing before the job gets done. So then you can just write a check and we never even use our EnerBank financing. Or worst case scenario, your home equity loan is not approved by then. We could go ahead and fund it through the EnerBank option, but you pay a couple days in interest because as soon as your home equity line goes through, you just pay off the EnerBank loan. And I used to do that all the time. That's how you overcome that objection.
Yeah.
So I think you guys,
we don't know where the money comes that pays us off, but it is quite common that you're buying the customer 6 months, 12 months, or whatnot, and then they go get their own home equity loan within that 12-month time period, and then pay us back with another loan. And we know that happens a lot.
so I think you gentlemen might have already kind of answered this question, but yes, Sasha from Alexandria wrote in, today home equity is being used more by homeowners. Are there advantages of EnerBank financing over home equity? So if there was anything else to add to that.
Yeah, the simple answer is we are an unsecured loan, and so if something were to happen, tragedy, whatnot happens, if they don't pay us back, our only recourse really is to damage their credit, and that's something that we will do, but we don't evict them from their home. We can't foreclose and kick them out of their house. That's the best answer I've got for you. I mean, home equity lines are great too. I'm not going to try to say that they're bad and the EnerBank is the best option. I mean, EnerBank is a really good option in almost all scenarios. But if a customer's got a home equity line, I mean, property values are skyrocketing right now, and if customers want to tap into that home equity, certainly they could probably even access money for less, a low interest rate. But like I mentioned, once they've tapped that money, now they can shop any home improvement contractor they want, whereas the approval that we give you is tied to that contractor, and so they can't shop our money with another competitor.
Great. Well, that actually rounds out all the questions that we've gotten. While
5 minutes to spare. Great.
Yeah, these were great questions, guys. Thank you for everyone that was able to join us. Steve, while I have you, do you want to say a few words about LEAP 2.0 that just got launched recently?
We completely overhauled the entire app. You have a whole new user interface. We got great feedback from it. There's some new functionality in it where you can do like custom packages, which is really good for like creating a good, better, best option very quickly on the fly for your customers. Sending all your documents, of course, submitting financing is tied into there. You can send credit apps to be signed. Like there's a whole big push now because of COVID, sending remote. There's a lot of companies that set up whole departments selling remote, and we have some functionality in there that allows you to do that specifically with financing, because one of the challenges contractors ran into when selling remote was how do you get the customer's credit information to submit a credit app securely. So we have developed a way to do that at LEAP. We'd love to show you a demo of how to do it, and that all ties right into the EnerBank system, so that you can submit all your credit apps and get instant decisions without ever having to go to the customer's house.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Steve, for joining us for some of this Q&A, and thank you, Cade, for sharing your time with us today. To everyone watching at home or from the office, we're glad you could join us. We, like I mentioned earlier, will be emailing out today's recording this afternoon. So please feel free to watch again or share with colleagues. And if you do come across any questions that you think of later, feel free to shoot us an email or give us a call. And with that, have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday, everyone. We will see you next time.